Hi, and welcome to the Nutrition and Alternative Medicine Podcast. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. Today's show is on clearing inherited emotional DNA. And obviously, this is going to fall under the category of alternative medicine. Now, while Lisa Thomas is not a medical intuitive, we all know that what we think and what we feel emits an energy. And that energy and vibration and frequency can affect our health. Unexpressed emotion and patterns can build up into toxicity in the body. So think about anger or frustration or depression. When you are experiencing those things, your body chemistry changes. You feel differently. And the longer you're in that state, the more dis-ease and discomfort happens for you. So hopefully you'll keep an open mind today, because I haven't introduced too many emotional things yet onto this channel, but it's totally part of my mind, body, soul brand. And I'm going to introduce you to a couple other things that are going on, the event that's coming up, the 30-day manifestation group. So stay tuned so I can explain what's coming up and what you might want to be involved in. But a few housekeeping things before we get started. First and foremost, I apologize that the audio quality of Lisa's interview, hers is fine. She sounds good, minus a little bit of wonky Skype connection issues that I did my best to edit and make as easy as possible. But her volume is really good. But for some reason, my volume is not so great. And I was kind of a challenging audio to edit. So I just wanted to say I'm sorry for the imbalance in the volume. Hopefully it's okay for you and you can forgive me, because you know that I really prefer great audio. But Lisa is so busy that it's hard to nail her down to re-record something, because she's just jam-packed with clients, because she's that good. And I want to let you know that Lisa's also going to be presenting and doing a group healing, like a mini group healing, at the live event in January. January 12th to the 14th in Los Angeles. Now, I am doing a virtual ticket, and that means that you can buy a seat virtually, and you're going to get the same event that people had in person delivered to you in your inbox, and you will get all the videos. You won't obviously be live in the room with us. You won't get the energy of the room and the different exercises that we're doing together and the partnerships and the way that we're building community, but you will get the information. You'll be able to follow through and do any of the exercises, because they'll be included in the virtual ticket, and it's for anyone, anywhere, any country, any time frame. But of course, I'd prefer and would love to meet you. So if you're so inclined, come on over to releasingwhatweighyoudown.com. Again, that's releasingwhatweighyoudown.com. There's no T in that, so it's not weight, it's weighs, WEIGHS. releasingwhatweighyoudown.com, and get your ticket. Be in the room. Come meet me. Come mingle with the other people, because what I know about you guys is that you want to connect with more like-minded people. I hear it every week. And I want to put you in a room full of people who are, and not only people who are, but practitioners who are and do and help to make changes, real changes in your life on every level. So there's a limited amount of seats. I would love to meet you. I would love to have you come. So please check it out, releasingwhatweighyoudown.com, and Lisa will be doing a group healing. Now, Lisa, at the end of this interview, we didn't give out her website address, because I get to offer something that no one else does. I get to offer a discount on Lisa's services and on her products. So after you listen to, and you might want to write this down also, healwithlisa.com. Healwithlisa.com is my special link to get you a discount on a one-on-one session with Lisa, which of course is the most profound, which is the most amazing, and I can't even explain it. I mean, I will in the next session, because this recording today is Lisa's backstory. And it's how she got her gifts. It's what happened with her gifts. It's what her gifts are, what they do. And I know some of you have reached out to me because you feel that you have some gifts and you wonder why you're getting some messages or how you can tap into your intuition. So today's show is the backstory about Lisa's coming into her own gifts. And you may be able to relate to the story in so that maybe you don't have spiritual, intuitive, clairvoyant, sort of intuitive things. Maybe that's not what you have, but you have other gifts, other specialties, other things in your life that are only coming into your awareness now. Maybe life purpose, maybe something that you've denied about yourself until this point. Now you feel ready to step into it, which is what the whole releasing what weighs you down event is about removing blocks that are getting in your way of you pursuing whatever is your heart's your desires, whether it be a relationship, money, a business, a way of self-expression. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. And remember, at the end of the show, you can get Lisa's special discount from me, JJ, at healwithlisa.com. You can also go to healwithlisaaudios.com because she offers her healing circle calls in packages. Now, I've given you a couple different links in the beginning of this show today. I'm going to repeat them one more time with one more small announcement before we get started because there are no commercial breaks within Lisa's actual show. So first and foremost, I want to meet you. I want you to come commune with us. I want us to have this amazing experience in January, live in person. Get out from behind your car and your earbuds. Make the investment in yourself. You're worth it. I promise you will not be sorry that you did it. But you might be sorry if you don't, because after the event is over, the event will be over. So releasingwhatweighyoudown.com. Come be in the room with us or buy your virtual ticket now because I will shut that down before the event starts. And then it will appear as a product, which will be more than the virtual ticket. So the virtual ticket is going to be the best bet if you can't get here. And there's no way, shape, or form you're going to get here. HealWithLisa.com is how you're going to get the special price to have Lisa one-on-one. And Heal with Lisa Audios is how you're going to get special pricing and packaging on her healing circle calls, which are kind of like audios that you can use like hypnosis, except don't drive when you're using them, okay? All right, well, I'm going to let you dive in. Again, thank you for downloading today's show. I apologize about the lack of perfection in the actual audio quality, but I know you're going to enjoy it and you're going to come back for more, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. Hi, everyone. You are going to be so excited today about today's show. I have been wanting to have Lisa on for at least a year now, maybe a little bit more. And I've just been waiting for the perfect time. And today is your lucky day. Today, you're going to learn about clearing inherited emotional DNA. Let me introduce you to the fabulous, amazing Lisa Thomas. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Ditto right back at you because I think you are amazing also, JJ.
Thank you. Thank you. We love each
Yes.
other. It's always good when you love the
Yes,
people that
we
you
do.
work with, isn't it?
It is.
So now I've worked with Lisa privately. I've done her group healing circles, and I love everything she does. And my personal story, I might even do on a separate show. My interest today to share with people is sort of how you got to be where you are. So, for instance, on this show, I've interviewed a medical intuitive who also does some therapy work, but she is very intuitive. She's very intuitive. I've got great psychics that I've interviewed on the show who I also think are awesome and amazing. And then other very intuitive people. And what I love about the work that I do and the work that all of you do is that everyone's different. Everyone has got a specialty and a gift, a uniqueness about how they apply it to others and to themselves, and they don't really overlap. Like there's a reason to work with everybody because everybody has something different. And so I want to talk about and educate people today about your gifts. Let's start back at the beginning. When did you know you had a gift?
Well, I was born with the gift of being clairaudient and clairvoyant. So I've known about my gifts since I can remember, ever since I was a little girl, when my make-believe friends in my bedroom were actually my ancestors as I got older and realized who they were. But I've known that I was different. Can't even put an age on it because I don't know a time when I didn't know I had them.
And so when you said, like your friends and you realized they were your ancestors later, did someone educate you about that? How did you figure that out?
I used to be very frightened as a child. I was frightened of everything. And it's because I was an empath and I didn't know how to block out negative energy. I didn't know how to filter yet. And at night, especially when the air is ever so clear, right, I would feel all sorts of things and this fear would set in. And I had an ancestor, her name is Ethel. She's actually a guardian angel of mine. I would say I was around, it's maybe been about 8 or 10 years. I was out in my backyard and I felt this person right next to me who I had felt before, but I didn't realize really who it was, and, except that it was an ancestor, and she was identifying herself as Ethel, and she told me that she knew me and that she'd been around me my whole life. So I called my father and I said, you know, Dad, he's totally into genealogy and all sorts of stuff. And I asked him, do you know anybody by the name of Ethel, or anybody? She feels like Indian energy to me. And when I said that, I had this recall of being a little girl. And in my room at night would come a family of Indians. And I've always resonated with Indians. Now, this is a special type of Indian. It's a Tlingit Indian, and they lived in northern Alaska. So I'm not talking about American heritage Indians, but just the same, they came into my room at night, and Ethel, who ends up being my grandmother in a sort of way, would tuck me into bed. I had this family that loved me, that stayed with me. It was like this whole world that I thought I was creating in make believe, even though I just thought they were my make believe friends as a child. And when I asked my dad, do you know anyone named Ethel? He said, well, Lisa, that was my father's first wife. She was a Eskimo. It's actually not Eskimo blood, though. It's a special tribe that's different than Eskimo. She lived in Alaska, and his father, well, he was a Quaker. And so Quakers, like, they bury their dead without a name on their tombstone because they believe that God knows where everybody is. So the point is with me sharing that is that he never told my father anything because he didn't feel like he needed to know. But my father, when he was doing genealogy, found out that his father had been married before. And that's what opened this conversation. And my father, Orrin, told my father, Larry, her name was Ethel, and she died in my arms 3 months after we were married of the flu, the influenza to be exact. And I was holding her when she died. And when she died, her spirit came, lifted out of her body. She stood there in front of me. She turned around and she said, Orrin, I will be with you forever. I will wait for you. So that put her staying in this dimension. And because if she had lived, she believed that his 3 children would have been her children, and those children's children would have been her grandchildren. She was assigned to me as a guardian angel, and she has been with me my entire life, and she still is.
When you asked your father about that, was he open to or was he afraid about the fact that you had picked up on these energies?
You know, he was actually fairly open. My father has kind of an organic, I am where I am partly because of my father, in that we always ate organically. He was very much involved with oils for healing, essential oils, long before it became common like it is now. So he's always been open to new things. Now, does he like that I talk about it? Not at all. Not at all. So, you know, it comes with some pros and cons in that.
So you're clairvoyant, you're clairaudient, you now are connecting dots of ancestors and heritage and stories. And what were you doing at that time? How old were you, or what were you focused on in terms of your future?
As far as when Ethel presented herself to me as an older adult,
just in general. How old were you when that happened? When you asked your father about Ethel?
Probably around 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So growing up, you knew you were clairaudient, you knew you were clairvoyant, but you didn't use your gifts because people were afraid of them, or how were you living knowing this one thing about yourself? Like, what did you do?
I had these gifts of the spirit, we could say, since I was born, but that doesn't mean that I felt empowered or that I had the right to use them. In fact, I never knew why I had them. I had just been taught that if I shared what I could do, it made me very weird and people were uncomfortable around me. My mother, when I would tell my mother they're not healthy, she would say, shh, Lisa, don't say that out loud. Because how do you define a child? How do you explain a child that knows that somebody isn't healthy? You can't. And my father, I inherited scarcity from my father. So there's a lot that goes into scarcity besides money and stuff. And it was a scarcity belief based on a spiritual belief that if I were to talk about my gifts, I would be bragging. Bragging means God will take your gifts from you. Keep in mind, I didn't know why I had these gifts. I just did. And then you certainly couldn't ever sell your gifts, because then for sure you would be penalized in some way, taken away, or life would become bad, whatever that is. So I had them. I didn't do anything with them. I really tried to hide them.
Okay, so you know, and I know you know, and I know, and some people know what happens when you, like, what was the negative repercussions of you hiding them? Because obviously that's like denying a huge part of yourself. So what would you say that suffering came because of the denial?
I didn't know that I was suffering anything. I thought I was doing the right thing. So if I was suffering from not using them, it would be more because I just didn't know that I had a choice on how to use them. I had never been presented with options.
Was life working great, and were you perfectly happy before you started
No,
using them?
I mean, I've had a lot of trials in my life, but I do believe that there is timing in everything. I really do. Between 33 and 35. Okay. My mother was my best friend, my advocate. She was everything in my life. So her leading my life really threw me into a very, very deep depression. At age 40, I'm in Cabo with my husband celebrating my 40th birthday. And my mother comes to me in a dream. And she was wearing this bright red lipstick. And she says, Lisa, I will forever be with you. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. And I'm like, Mom, what's up with this red lipstick? And she laughed. She had a great sense of humor. And she goes, You're never going to forget this dream because I'm wearing red lipstick. And the next day, I was in a very bad ATV accident. I was racing my husband in Cabo on these beautiful white sand dunes. And the guy says at the end of our day, we were there all day. He said, okay, everybody gather. We had like these headsets on. And so as my husband came towards me, I said, we still have a few minutes. I'm going to race you to the top of that hill. I might be a little competitive. And I was winning. I just want to put that out there. Well, I had never taken the time to look at that hill. It was so steep, you wouldn't come down that hill on an ATV. Oh, but I was headed up it. And it was just like slow motion. As I'm going up that hill, I realized that I had no control. And the ATV slowly came right back down on top of me, flat. The handlebar went through the left side of my jaw, popped my shoulder out. Took him a long time to get me out of there. The guy in the ambulance, as he's driving over this, the driver was driving over this pebbled cobblestone road, and the guy that's above me has his rosary beads, and he's putting it in a cross, right, praying over me because they thought I was going to die. And then I get to the hospital, which was no doctor around that night, none. And I went deep within me when I was laying on that table, and I thought to myself, I'm alive for a reason. My mother came to me for a reason. Now, I had suffered depression my whole life, and I kept myself going by drinking a boatload of Diet Coke. And actually, I remember laying on that table thinking this, God, you kept me alive. I don't know why, but I'm here, and I'm going to go off all caffeine, and I'm going to turn this burden of this caffeine that I know is bad for me over to you. And if you, whether we want to call God or source or universe, it doesn't matter. I turned that burden of this depression and this overwhelm that I had over. And I laid in my bed for a month. I was bruised from head to toe. And that's pretty much what started my journey in really finding holistic ways, different ways of doing things. And then it was a few years before I really, now keep in mind, I still don't know why I have my gifts. I just know that I didn't die. It was important if my mom come to me to tell me that I had, basically I have a purpose and she's with me. So I just turned this burden over. And that was the beginning of transformation to where I am now.
Wow. I have a lot going on about that. But that's amazing. I mean, obviously, to me, I'm hearing that the depression was because you were feeling powerless over being who you really were. You were told it wasn't okay. You weren't allowed to be who you were. And who you were was someone who had gifts to share with the world. And then, of course, it makes you wonder what the purpose is. Well, if I have them,
right,
I'm not using them, then it's like you're almost like you're being chained to the floor.
But I didn't know that. That's really important.
Right.
This is more on a subconscious level. And this is where ancestors come in. This is where, like, a lot of good things happen from here on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
Right.
process
Right.
to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So at what point, at what point did you, because I know I've heard you in sessions in the clearing inherited money DNA
Hmm.
group circle that you have, and maybe others that you had to work through, like you said earlier, using your spiritual gifts and getting paid for them without being afraid you'd lose them. So what process
Yeah.
or what happened for you to
A
clear
good
that so
question.
that you could step into that?
Good question. So, out of a hobby, this was a hobby, I would get certified in different healing modalities, not because I was ever going to do anything with them. It's just because I thrived on learning them, learning about them. I thrived being in those conferences. I just loved it. It was a hobby. That's all it was, JJ. And I had no intention of ever having a business whatsoever. My daughter had been suggested that she go to an energy practitioner, an energy healer. And I had heard my daughter on the phone talk to this woman, and I was embarrassed. Now, remember, my daughter is much different now, but she was very defensive that something might be wrong with her. And I said, nothing's wrong with you, right? And I was so embarrassed by her behavior that I called this lady back. And I said, I would love to do this session with you, right? My daughter's just, this is new. She didn't understand, and she is, all right. So and the very first time I did this session with her, this woman said to me, I'd worked with a lot of people. She said to me, Lisa, you have some really innate gifts that are part of your path. And until you start owning them in a bigger way, you're never going to feel fulfilled. And I kind of played dumb. All right. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. And she goes, look, just read this book. So I found the book, I read the book, and I go to put it on my shelf. And I loved the book. Put it on my shelf in my office. Remember, I'm clairvoyant. Or clairaudient, I hear Lisa gets certified. And I answered out loud and I said, I don't need another certification. I'm the best I've been in my life. I believe this book. I believe the author. I think it's amazing. Now, this is what I want everyone to understand, okay? When we follow our prompting, it doesn't have to be a voice in your ear, okay? It doesn't have to be somebody else telling you anything. But when we follow that light from within and we get a prompting to do something that you know, even though it might be out of your comfort zone, but you know it speaks your truth, life changes. Mm-hmm. So when I heard that, Lisa, just do it, I was like, okay, I'll do it. I signed up. This happened to be an online program. I completed it, I watched everything. I did it. Well, guess what? It's the first time in all my certifications that you had to work on 30 people, document it, work on 5 animals, and release 5 energetic heart walls. And I went into panic mode. I would have never done it if you had told me this. I would have never done it if I had read the fine details. Just do it, Lisa. Okay. All right. Now, I told my husband, I'm going to get certified in this. I'm halfway done, but I have to work on people. And I love my husband. And he's a physical therapist. He's amazing. So he's a healer in a sense, right? And he says to me, Lisa, I do not want to tell my clients that my wife has healer hung from our roof. And oh, exactly. My heart went to my toes. And I had this inner tenacity and confidence. And I said, and I promise you, I will never have a sign hanging from our house that says, Lisa, the healer. But I have to do this. I don't know where it's going to lead. I didn't say I was starting a business. I just have to do this. And you know what? He's right in my backyard now. I mean, we're good, right? But what's important here is that sometimes we're asked to do things that are hard, that we're going to go against those people that love us. There may be a different opinion, but we know that they're right. My acupuncturist is who sent me my first 2 people, because I didn't have I couldn't ask anybody. And so she sent me those 2 people. And this is how it became a business. This is what brought me to where I am. Those 2 people sent me 2 people. Those 2 people sent me people. And I was done. What should be 6 months, I was done in like 2.5 months. It was coming so fast. so quickly. And I remember like my second time I was working with someone, the tears were just streaming, not because I wasn't in overwhelm. It was tears of gratitude, JJ, that for the first time in my life, I understood why I had those gifts. Because when I releasing inherited, ancestors come during that process. They come in gratitude. Because when I release it from the client, if their mother's deceased, it's going to release from their mother. It's going to release from everybody, which is what I term on the other side of the veil. The veil is a thin line, a thin drape. We can think of it as a sheer if we want, where our ancestors have passed on and we don't see them. So everyone on the other side of the veil, no matter who it is, it will release from them. If you have children here or on the other side, it will release for them too. Now, it doesn't mean that millions of people come. No, it doesn't. Okay. But those that serve your highest good are allowed in my space, and they come in gratitude. They have things to say. It heals bloodlines. It creates miracles in people's lives. I'm not the miracle worker. I just want to know, you don't know that. But by the process of what I do, it heals bloodlines.
Oh, I believe it. And for those of you that haven't heard my show before or haven't heard the beginning of this show, I took my parents to see Lisa, and in between my father and my mother, one of your clients, I won't mention her name just for privacy reasons, came up from Orange County, and we chatted with her a little bit before. It was the first time she was seeing you in person, and my dad and I were sitting on the grass waiting for you to be done with my mom. And she had said, when we asked, I said, how did you find Lisa? And she said, through a friend who I stopped talking to because I didn't like her, and who she had become. And then she started working with Lisa, and now she's a different person. So I've seen a transformation in this person, and then that's how she found you. And I mean, when I first saw you for the first time, I don't think I had to wait 2 months or 3 months to get a session with you, and now there's a ridiculous wait. So it speaks to your gift, and it speaks to the power in what it is that you're doing. And I can't wait for you to see my video testimonial and all the things that I said that are going to be on your website that are probably there right now. The links will also be in the show notes for today. But Lisa clears inherited emotional DNA. So I know we've talked a little bit about how it affects that, but just can you give us the little overview for people who don't know what that means? I know you tell the story about the little cloud. So can you share with everybody what clearing inherited emotional DNA basically is?
Let me give a visual. First of all, we have vibrations within our body. This is an energy. And these vibrations send out a vibration. Whether we know it or not, or believe it or not, it doesn't matter because it happens. And inherited vibrations, if it was interesting for me to ask someone's body, what's the megahertz that's trapped? I would, but we don't live our life, JJ, by megahertz. Although every word in the dictionary has a vibration, a megahertz attached to it. So for example, shame is the lowest. Love is the highest. Think of the character in Charlie Brown. His name is Pigpen, and he has a dust cloud all over him. When he plays his cello, it's throwing out this cloud, right? Well, I think of that dust cloud as emotions that get handed down in the lineage. And what I want to do is I want to pull those clouds out of someone's body, out of their cells, a little bit at a time. And the reason I say a little bit at a time, well, first of all, I'll tell you why I want to do that. I'm clearing that cloud so that other people can see the individual for who they are. Because a lot of times vibrations and how people see us really aren't clear. They block the clarity of who we are. And the other reason is because we have a soul. I call it the divinity within us. And I want the individual, my client, to be able to see ahead, to feel present in their life and in their body, to allow good things, for them to know where they're headed, to believe in themselves. I cannot change anyone, but I can release the blocks that prevent them from feeling authentic from the inside out. I can release the blocks that prevents them from using their gifts and talents. I can release the blocks inherited, all right, that make them feel that they don't have a purpose or cause them to not know what their purpose is.
Yeah.
Does that bring some clarity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know what you do. I want you to explain it to others in your words. and how I know that I've heard you also explain it on group healing circles as well, so that people get a visual and understand, and then just hear you and hear your relationship to the work that you're doing, and how that
Yeah.
transforms somebody's life. It absolutely has done that for me, and I would definitely recommend, because by this point in the show, everyone is wondering about how they can work with you. So let's talk about, and Lisa is going to be coming back. We're going to be doing another show called Removing Blocks to Prosperity and Love. So you want to make sure you stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, be in touch, join the 30-day manifestation group, and you may even get to chat with Lisa. But you want to make sure that you stay in the know here, because we're going to have Lisa back for Removing Blocks to Prosperity and Love. But for right now, people are going, oh my God, I have so much baggage in my lineage. I know it. I see it in my parents. I see it in my grandparents. I feel it. And so how can I get this from you? How can I best work with you, Lisa?
There's two ways to work with me. You can come to me one-on-one. My desire is to help everybody. I just don't have enough time in my day. My healing circles are extremely powerful. So those are the two ways. It is like a 2.5, 3-month wait to get into my schedule, but I can help people 3 times a month for less than 1 session.
And you can buy the healing circles that she's done in the past. I'll tell you, my very first one or second one that I did, I remember hearing you say that that you have these gifts. You don't know how you have them, but you do. I don't know how I do it. I just know I do it. And I really appreciated hearing that, because I think for some people it disarms anybody who, is curious about people who are clairvoyant and clairaudient and have these gifts. Is as if you're being very honest and you're authentic, and that's one of the things people resonate with, and you have the biggest heart in the world, and they feel that, and people feel that. And I think also the work that you do, for anyone listening, if you've been in therapy for a long time, and I said this in the testimonial, I said if you're someone who's been in therapy for a long time and you don't seem to be making any headway, 1 or 2 sessions with Lisa, or getting on the healing circles can just work magic, because it is, again, removing. And I'm still a proponent of therapy when it comes to, but very specific kinds of therapy, not all therapy, definitely not just talk therapy. If your therapist is only doing 12% conscious mind talk therapy, you are in the wrong place. Or if you've been dealing with the same issue for 3 years, you are in the wrong place. But what you do is, again, remove those blocks to even penetrating that information someone can get from therapy. And so they're great to work together. But Lisa you can buy individual group healing circles and try it on your own. Join the 3 times a month, work with her in person. And yes, she does do Skype, for those of you that are wondering, because Spirit, Purpose, and Energy currently is being downloaded in 125 countries. So, and Fear and Fit to Love is being downloaded in probably 160 countries. So we've got all these different channels that this show is going to appear on, and they all reach different groups. And as long as you can call, you have a Skype session, you can do that as an individual, or just sign up, buy a group healing circle, try it out. It's like hypnosis. You can utilize it by listening over and over again, although I will take the credit for helping you, Lisa, in telling people not to overdo them. since I did the 3 like in a row. I did the regular one-on-one session, and then 2 group healing circles, and I was writing my book, and I was doing like 3 hours a day, and then I got sick. And it wasn't I got sick like I got ill. What happened was my body and my immune system got so overwhelmed with releasing, because otherwise I was super healthy. Like I never got a fever. I felt great. It's just that I was congested, and I could feel that my body was releasing, and so it took a toll. And so definitely, don't overdo it like I did. Build up to it like exercise. Do it, then rest a day, and then do it, then rest a day. And then as you get stronger, you can do more. But it's something that's like I think I described it to somebody like peeling an onion back. There's that top layer, and then the more that you do, it's like watching a movie. The more you watch it, the more you pick things out you didn't notice before. The more you do these clearings, the more it gets deeper and deeper into subconscious stuff that now has risen to the top, because the other stuff's been cleared away.
That's right. And what happens, the subconscious is the master controller of our body. It knows every reason why we have it, why we do it. We don't have to know that. In fact, I have 2 therapists that refer to me regularly. I'm not a therapist, and we're not doing talk therapy. And you know that, JJ, but I just want your client, your people to know that. But what happens is, in therapy, we can come to a cognitive realization as to why mom forgot us in kindergarten. But and we know that, mom was busy that day, mom worked that day, mom was PTA president, mom was an alcoholic, whatever it is, We cognitively realize it. But if the vibration of abandonment, say, does not release from the body, it just causes all sorts of problems. You're going to attract people. Remember, there's that vibration being sent out. So the vibration of abandonment gets sent out. You attract a partner and you're like, oh, we are so perfect together. And before long, you're both abandoning each other, or one abandons the other. It can happen with friends, anywhere. The other thing that happens with abandonment, just as my example, is we can have it turned inward and we begin to abandon our own bright ideas and our hopes and our dreams.
Yeah.
When it comes to these healing circles are extremely powerful. And what I started on was the subconscious, when you listen to it again, it's going to find where else it needs to be released. So it's almost as if your body's listening, your subconscious is listening to it again for the first time. And what it does is, if you are someone that's in fight and flight mode and your adrenals are already exhausted, you listen to it. If you listen to it multiple times a day, it's just just like JJ's saying, it's too much, it's too fast, and it's going to make you sick. So you want to listen to it. If you're on live with me, for those, I ask you to wait 2 days to listen to it. If you, and in fact, if you've never, for the very first time, I want you to wait 2 days, whether you're on live or not. And then after that, and as your body gets used to it, you can do one every other day. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm still feeling the last one we just did. So, but of course I have done like 4 since then. So, sorry, that's just me. I take the risk, but I also get the benefit, and we're going to talk about that in the next show a little bit more.
Okay.
The more personal story is how the actual session goes. But so now I know Lisa can do the in-person Skype and or group healing session, and or just go buy one. You don't have to even get on the call live. You can just go buy
absolutely.
some. There are packages of different groups of group healing circle audios that you can just purchase and then use them and then use them
keep them. You get to keep them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get to keep them, and that's a real deal. So make sure that you also come on over to jjflazanes.com, because that's where you're going to be able to find the special link to get some of Lisa's great stuff at a discounted price, and to try and maybe even get something for free. So make sure to come over to jjflazanes.com, check it out. I definitely encourage you to re-listen to this show, come back for Removing Blocks to Prosperity and Love, because Lisa and I are going to go over what the sessions look like, how they work, how she uses the tools that she uses, because I had all these ideas about what she did before I went to see her, and then when I saw her, it blew me away. And so I just want to prepare any of you for that. But don't wait for me. Sign up with Lisa, buy a healing session, try it out for yourself. Maybe you buy some healing sessions and then you come back to the next show before you want to work with her privately. But I promise that if you do this work, it will change your life. There's just no doubt. So, Lisa, thank you so much. I can't wait to have you back.
You're very welcome. Thank you, JJ.
As a quick reminder, if you're interested in working with Lisa Thomas one-on-one, check out healwithlisa.com. Or if you'd like to check out her healing circle calls that you can download and use at your convenience, you can go to healwithlisaaudios.com. And one more gentle reminder about how much I want to meet you. Come join us at the January event and check out releasingwhatweighyoudown.com.